Game 1 of the championship series, Wednesday night, tied at 5 at the end of regulation. Lanasura will find Fernando Clavillo. He scores his second goal of the game, a rocket over the right ear of P.J. Johns, and the Sockers win Game 1, 6-5 in sudden death overtime. On to Game 2, just 2 nights later, Brian Quinn will find Hugo Perez. You'd think that he'd be stopped. He's in traffic. Stolmeyer comes in to help out Valentine, but Perez will end up splitting both, and his wicked left footer goes over P.J. Johns, and the Sockers win Game 2. The series now shifts to Cleveland. We'll see if the Force can get back into it. The MISL celebrates its 10th anniversary season as FNN Score and Bud Sports, in association with Madison Square Garden, presents the Championship Series, Game 3, San Diego at Cleveland. Tonight's game is being brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers and proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By Metropolitan Life and affiliated companies. Get Met, it pays. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst. We're inside the Richfield Coliseum, where the series has shifted for Games 3, 4, and 5 if necessary, here at the home of the Cleveland Force, where they only lost 6 times during the regular season. A pleasant good evening, everyone. Welcome to our live coverage of Game 3 of the Championship Series. I'm John Paul Dellacamera. It is a must-win game, really, for the Cleveland Force. Not so much for San Diego, because they do have a 2-game-to-none lead. Now, in Game 1, it was tied on 5 different occasions, and neither team led by more than 1 goal at any time. But Game 2 was a different story, and the Cleveland Force fell behind earlier in the game and didn't have enough to beat Zoltan Toth and company, and it ended up to be a pretty easy win for the San Diego Sockers. And for Cleveland to win tonight and turn that series around, they're going to have to raise their level of play, much like the Sockers did. So Game 3 is such a significant game for both clubs, especially Cleveland. We talked to 2 important players before the game about their feelings on game number 3.
Okay. Well, in the Game 3, we've got to pretty much get our act together. The most important thing for us is we got to get out of the back, especially in the Game 2. We couldn't get out. They put a lot of pressure on us, and I think that's the key tonight, is getting out of the back and being able to control the game and have the possession of the ball much more than we had in the first 2 games.
Game 3 is very important to the San Diego Sockers. We're going to take a very positive attitude into this game. We realize we're in the driver's seat. We're winning 2-0 in the series right now. And what we want to do is do the same thing we did in the second game. We came out, put a lot of pressure on Cleveland, made it very difficult for them to play, and forced them to turn the ball over quite a bit. And if we feel if we can do the same thing here in their arena, we should be able to take a 3-0 lead after this game.
Well, Cleveland cannot afford to lose this game, and as the saying goes, it ain't over until the fat lady sings. But, Seamus Ballin, the fat lady may not be singing right now, but if San Diego wins this one tonight, I think you'll hear her warming up her vocal cords.
That's right. There may be some humming under the stands. Well, I'll tell you, San Diego really is in a great position. They've done it with superb defense, but they've also done it with some great scoring. You saw a superb Perez goal there a few minutes ago, and I think that's all the more significant when you consider that Branko Segota, their great scorer, is out for the entire series. Now, that would suggest that Cleveland would be able to shut down Perez, but instead the opposite has happened. Perez has really come to life, and he has a tremendous physical attribute that coaches love to find, which is great one-on-one skill or one-on-2 skill, and in the narrow confines of indoor soccer, that's very crucial. On the other hand, you heard HAASKIVI talk about the problems for Cleveland. They've not been able to get the ball forward from behind, and HAASKIVI himself can't be the person to come back and keep doing that. They've got to rely on John Stolmeyer and Desmond Armstrong to do some of that. They must do it tonight. Keep in mind also that the last meeting here in the regular season was a 1-goal game which Cleveland lost. In that game, Armstrong and Stolmeyer combined in 4 goals, so they can do it.
We'll see what happens tonight when these 2 clubs get together. We're told that Jim Gorsuch will get the starting assignment for Ron Newman's San Diego Sockers. On the opposite side, P.J. Johns will start again for the Cleveland Force. Stay with us. The kickoff is next from Richfield, Ohio. Sponsoring today's officials, Herb Silva in the middle, Kelly Mock to the right, and Tom Gordon to the left, as we now switch to our starting goalkeepers, Jim Gorsuch, as Ron Newman appears to be going back to his alternating goalkeepers that worked so well during the regular season. Gorsuch played in Game 1, and P.J. Johns on the opposite side. He's used to playing goal 28 consecutive starts, counting this one tonight. We'll see what happens as the Sockers start with the kickoff. Quinn sending it in long, and P.J. Johns will make the easiest play he'll make tonight. DeFlorio, broken up by Brian Quinn. Back to Kevin Crow. Now to Clavijo. Force putting some pressure on early. They go after Gorsuch. Jim Gorsuch right foots it long. And it's over 3 lines. So the Cleveland team did a good job there and putting a little heat on, forcing Gorsuch to give up that ball in possession. Now belongs to the Force. It's played into HAASKIVI on a soft touch to Florio. Out to Andy Schmetzer. Off the boards, Gino DeFlorio back for Armstrong. Off his foot, HAASKIVI. Great job to backheel, but DeFlorio just left the area. It was hard for him to read that HAASKIVI would win that ball, but Kai did it. Schmetzer to HAASKIVI. We're just underway in this one. The game's some 40 seconds old. Opening quarter as Desmond Armstrong takes it against Quinn. Leaves it now for Andy Schmetzer. Soft pass to Florio, had a show for it. Clavijo knocked it away. That's where the speed and anticipation of Clavijo worked to the Sockers' advantage. Plays it to Quinn. Brian Quinn knocking it out on the right point to Kevin Crow. Trying to give it to Quinn, cut off. Cleveland takes over as it's Desmond Armstrong to HAASKIVI. 1982 championships. It was New York against the St. Louis Steamers. Recognize Steve Jungle. He'll cut it across. Renato Chila, number 4, a New York Arrow defender, made his move there to the inside. A left footer, a score, beating Slobo Lievsky. The New York Arrows are champions in the year 1982. And we're live in the 1988 championship, and Ron Newman has been to the championships before. In fact, several times, and he's won them whenever he's been in them. After the New York Arrows had their reign, Ron Newman took over after Don Popovic had won 4 straight titles for the New York Arrows. Craig Allen now as the Force would love to get that first goal of the game. Valentine right side to Dargo. That official timeout, I think, came at a good time there for Cleveland. Starting to give the ball away a little bit. Have a little indecision plaguing them. Dargo back to DeLuca. Up the wing for Carl Valentine. Valentine, a player to watch for the Force. Knocking it back to DeLuca. Right side, Mepham looking for Dargo. Gorsuch came out, blocked it, juggles it. Clear to the right boards. Mepham for Valentine. Valentine wanting to turn, and he was slowed down. Nice play defensively by Clavijo. Roll to the right side now for Tabrizi. Hormuz Tabrizi at midfield. Runs it into the Force zone, still scoreless. Tabrizi, couple of moves to the outside, and then he's bumped there by Mepham. First foul for Cleveland. Tabrizi had some good fakes and appeared to maybe have beaten Mepham to the outside.
Yeah, indeed, and in fact, the funny thing about that play was Tabrizi was about to go off as a substitute when Gorsuch rolled the ball right to his feet over by the bench, though he had to keep going.
He's a defensive runner, and that's where he'll normally come out, but when they see him carrying it, they let him go. Here's Hermes, and he shoots it just wide. George Fernandez, #1 pick of the Force a few years back. Came back to haunt him the other night in Game 2. Off the boards for Kevin Crow. 2-time Defender of the Year. Only Kim Rundvedt can make the same claim. Fernandez to Hermes. Blocked by Craig Allen. And Hermes has to come back into his own zone for it. 4:48 to go. Opening quarter. And at the scoreless. Against Gorsuch. Shooting it. Blocked by Jim Gorsuch. And shades of an earlier game in this series. Game 2. Up the right wing side. Quinn. Right across. Easy goal for Julie V. Julie V on San Diego's very first official shot of the game will score the goal. And how quickly things happen. And that happened the other night when Allen didn't score on one side. Sockers were able to come back.
Yeah, well, you know, the Sockers can punish you so quickly. There's the ball crossed over and knocked in easily by V, but they certainly can murder you in that sort of situation. Now this is Brian Quinn coming downfield on the break, and his pass is deadly accurate between 2 defenders right over to Julie V. Was no trouble knocking the first goal into the game.
So Julie V is at double figures in playoff goals, his 10th of the year, and San Diego has the early lead. Playoffs, the 38-year-old V has had a very big playoff series. Slacked off a little bit the last couple of games, but he's come back with a goal here. McCallum trying to give it back, and now it's Jim Gorsuch. Jimmy Gorsuch holding on to it. He's counting to himself, and he miscounted. 5 seconds went by. He probably started his countdown after Herb Silva did. He has 5 seconds when he gets possession to release the ball, and you can see him with his hand stroke indicating where he was with the count, but Silva was ahead of him. HAASKIVI, 34 feet out, a chance. Shot, score! HAASKIVI!
goal more timely struck than this one. Look at the players pinching a little bit here. Karach, I think, turns his back on the play and opens up the wall. And the result, it goes right between the two players. You've got to hold the wall. You see him stepping away and opens up the wall. My goodness, you know, it's very easy to say you got to hold your ground from this vantage point, but you know, if you're a paid professional, you got to be able to do it. You cannot turn your back on the shooter, and that's just
discussion there with Hermes. They don't speak the same language, but I'll bet Karach got the message. But that was one of the giveaways that cost the Sockers. It was Gorsuch who lost it on a 5-second countdown on that transition. He turns the ball over. He gives HAASKIVI a free shot, basically, from 34 feet out, and HAASKIVI buried it. His 6-goal playoffs, unassisted at 12:08. It's tied at 1. SCHMETZER broke it up. Here's the Fleury over the line. There was a whistle though. Gorsuch with a high lob. Wanted Perez. Mepham way up to win it. For Allen. Trapping it. Craig Allen to the outside. Draws a crowd. San Diego with those 5 fouls off the boards. Gorsuch will just clear it intentionally is the call. So they'll bring it to the top of the arc.
Good thing he got that, JP, because Pasquale DeLuca was just cruising in behind him, and he had to stretch. He had to stretch, indeed, Gorsuch did, to get that ball away. Cleveland getting the momentum here, crowd behind them.
Now the 2-man wall is Perez, V, and Clavillo. No one is going to flinch here. Clavillo now switching off. Dargo giving it to Allen. It's broken up. So a 2-man wall again is what they did, but with a couple of veterans out there. Karach only in his first season in the league. Ball knocked away from Valentine. Crowd upset. That would have been the 6th foul if it was indeed a foul. Up the right side, Clavillo at midfield. Across it comes to Kevin Crow. Leaving it off for Perez. Over the line he comes in a 1-1 tie. Good ball to Crow off the boards. Crow shooting it. Stopped on the short side. Johns holds his ground and punches it away. V after it. With Valentine. Arm in arm they go. Julie B will get the 6th foul. Too much arm in arm. So that 6th foul penalty on San Diego. We'll see if it comes back and haunts them. And the Force will have a chance here to keep that crowd on their side, keep them active. This could be a very intimidating crowd here in Richfield, Ohio. They're noisy, and they usually come in large numbers.
Well,
Four of the top crowds in history have been here.
Got to be a little disappointed there, San Diego does, because Julie V, with 21 seconds left in the quarter, was not able to restrain his enthusiasm, shall we say, and really should have just let it go. Well, there's the punch clear. Now you'll see the battle over here between Valentine and V. They reach in, and there's a little bit of holding going on. Obviously, you see him grabbing him there by the arm. With the arm.
Quickly, let's go.
And quickly, let's go.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, yellow card. And let's see if it's Ron Newman who's going to get it, or someone else on the Sockers bench. See, Ron Newman. Herb Silva gave Newman a yellow card for not wearing the tuxedo tonight. 21 seconds left in the opening quarter. I agree with you. Julie B's got to know how many fouls there are, and at that point, that's tough right there.
Well, he still leads this team in penalty minutes, actually, and I think in the history of the franchise.
Yes, he does. Clavillo to midfield. Now Quinn. Off the boards. Quinn has to hustle back. Good job to hold it. Nice job by Quinn. And Gorsuch will clear it away, but Quinn didn't like that clear. It was in some traffic as the horn sounds.
Really crow.
Ending play in the opening quarter. Quinn and Gorsuch talk it over. When the next quarter starts, there will be 1:39 for the Cleveland Force in the power play to try and generate something. But right now, at the end of one, goals by V and HAASKIVI. It's even from Brian Quinn. Blasting that one upstairs. It's all tied at 1, but it's starting to get crazy down below. We're back to our telecast with this Bud flashback. Let's go back to the year 1980. You want to take a guess who was in there? If you guessed Arrows, you're right. Here's the ball, one in the neutral zone. They find Jungle number 7. Watch what he does. 1-on-2, and a far post shot beats the goalkeeper. The Arrows were champions in 1980, and Jungle went on to score better than 1,000 points. And now we welcome you back to the live action. What a nightmare so far anyway, Seamus, for Craig Allen. He had a 3-on-2 and an easier play to HAASKIVI.
That's right. Look at, I don't know if you can see HAASKIVI wide open on the far side. Crow gives him the shot, and he eventually takes it. Maybe it was a good shot in the end, but you see HAASKIVI standing there with his hands dropping down to his sides in just desperation. Now here's HAASKIVI going to hammer this ball off the boards, and creates all kinds of problems, indeed, for keeper Gorsic, as SCHMETZER tries to do something with it, and I think fouled him. But Gorsic having his problems tonight, JP. Yeah. He's made some saves, but he's looked quite shaky and unsteady in there. And I did not see game one, but I don't know that he was all that hot in game one.
No, and he admitted that today was not one of his better performances, a little bit rusty, but the team didn't help him either as much as they helped Zoltan Toth in the second game, to be fair.
Yeah, they certainly worked for Zoli. Defensive running was terrific.
Armstrong on the left wing against Hermes. We were correct before the force were given that foul, and Walt SCHMETZER was just posted up on the board late. It's up there now. They have 4 fouls, 3 the other way. P.J. Johns will find Desmond Armstrong. Stolmeyer, DeFlorio open to the right. DeFlorio off the boards, and Armstrong missed. He shot it wide. McAllis will win the ball. Nice job. It's a 2-on-1 to Carriage. Dougherty is open on the right wing. Carriage trying to deliver, and SCHMETZER with a block. And Carriage bumped into SCHMETZER, and that'll be 4 fouls in San Diego. Carriage has had a rough night as well. He made that one great turn, but he flinched big time on that goal off of a restart on HAASKIVI, and right there on the 2-on-1, he was unable to deliver it.
Yeah, almost breakdown right there between Stolmeyer and HAASKIVI. Stolmeyer faking to check off to his left, and then made the sudden move to his right. Meanwhile, Stolmeyer's head went down so he could see the ball, and delivered it right to where he thought HAASKIVI was going. To look up, finally, to his horror, that HAASKIVI had gone the other way.
Well, this is the San Diego slowdown, and now they'll pick it up. Up for Julie V. He's double teamed, knocked back to George Fernandez, lifting it long off the left footer for Dougherty off the boards. Hermes trying to tee it up, and a foul. They've got Rod Hermes on the foul, and that'll be 5 on San Diego. At one point they were behind Cleveland in fouls. Now they've been the aggressor. Next foul will cost them. Off the boards, Fernandez picks it off.
Yeah, John Stolmeyer again not able to deliver the ball from the back, and he's grits his teeth in anger with himself.
Quinn. Off the boards. Quick shot went wide, and P.J. Johns looked like he got fooled getting caught behind there in the net. Stolmeyer, that's the 6th foul. Stolmeyer, Seamus, in defense of him, is playing with an ankle that hurt enough the other night that he was testing it in the warm-up tonight, and there was a chance that he might not play tonight, so maybe that's some of the reason for a few of the mistakes anyway that he's made.
Well, there's a bad decision by McAllis, well taken advantage of by Carl Valentine, who goes down. Here's another look at it. You see McAllis reaching in from behind here now, and not much danger. See all those San Diego players around the ball. No real necessity indeed for McAllis to make that kind of play from behind. It gives him a 6th foul, and I assume that Dougherty is going to be the ball.
In fact, he had a very consistent season. The only time he slumped was at the wrong time at the start of the playoffs, but he seemed to have gotten out of that with a few games during that Kansas City series, although he's not really been a factor in this one other than scoring the 1 goal in game 1. But watch out for him. DeFlorio, power play here. The Force would love to take the lead before the half. On the right side, Stolmeyer holding it to Carl Valentine. Left side to DeFlorio. Valentine, not a good ball to him from DeFlorio, and Fernandez picks it off. They'll eat some of the clock here. Brian Quinn, good job. Quinn holding that ball. Eats up about 8 seconds, 8 to 10 in his own. Quinn now looking it up for Perez. Now he's playing shorthanded. Not a normal situation for San Diego. Perez cutting. Watch out. Oh, he's tripped down. Foul on Stolmeyer. That's the 5th. Quick restart. Clevillo. Save off the right-handed P.J. Johns. Cleveland almost got faked out on that one.
Boy, good, quick reaction by P.J. Johns there. That could have been a terribly dispiriting goal if they'd given up a shorthander.
I like what Ron Newman did there, though. He put Perez out just for a short spurt when they won the ball, and now Perez is back on the bench. HAASKIVI holding it. Giving it up to Valentine. Tees it up, and that one is high and wide and out of play with 3:39 to go and 59 seconds on the power play. So Ron Newman rolling the dice a little bit. It appears right now, Seamus, that what we thought earlier is correct. Perez just didn't get on for his shift because of the penalty killing situation at the start of the half, because he's played a regular shift. The only other thing that could have happened would have been if he told Newman that it was bothering him somewhat and he wanted to take maybe 1 shift off, but otherwise he has played regular. So I think it was just here in the first half of play, and it's even at 1. Walt SCHMETZER Gives it back to P.J. Johns. Long throw. Flicked up by Armstrong. And now it's George Fernandez. Good job. They'll get a 2-on-1 as it's flicked on to Dougherty, but P.J. Johns reads it all the way. Up to DeFlorio. Long ball, he wants HAASKIVI. 6 seconds left. Gorsuch out of the net. Got a piece of it. Loose. Gorsuch again. Oh, he just gets it with a second to go. If Cleveland gets any kind of luck on that bounce, it's the half end. They would have a goal, and the go-ahead goal going into the dressing room at the half. So, some amazing stuff right there at the end as Jim Gorsuch almost got caught in a very bad spot. He did get caught there, but it didn't cost him anything. Look how far out he is. He has to win this ball. He gets a piece, but look at HAASKIVI as he wins it. It's basically on his right foot, and he's able to kick at it. But the Sockers had other players in there, so Kai was unable to get a good, hard, clean shot away. If he does do that, chances are he scores into that empty net. HAASKIVI already has 1 goal tonight. In fact, HAASKIVI got the goal that brought the Force right back into it after Julie V had scored at the 11:51 mark. And what a nice goal it was from Kai, 34 feet out on a restart. It's a direct free kick, and he can blast from there. And that's exactly what he did. So at the end of the first half of play, it's all even at 1 apiece. And Ron Newman, the head coach of the San Diego Sockers, must know that this is a rougher game than the previous 2. Right now, let's go downstairs to Seamus Mallon and the San Diego Sockers coach. Seamus?
Well, here with halftime Ron Newman, a vastly different story from game 2. That they're giving you quite a scrap tonight.
Yeah, the game's a bit ragged, I think. You know, we can't seem to get out. We've got to cool down, and we're not going to get anything in this building, so we've just got to play our own game. But we're getting a little bit ragged, a little bit frustrated on some of the things that are going on.
They've had a little bit of success, certainly more than last time, in getting the ball out of the back earlier. Does this mean you're playing a little bit withdrawn from them, not quite so high pressure?
I think it's a little bit bigger field, and I think that gives them that little bit extra room, and it's making us mistime that pressure. I think we've got to do a little bit better, see the difference, hope that we're going to get a little bit better with it as we get used to the field.
Okay, Ron Newman, thank you for joining us. I know you want to get back to your team. Let's go back upstairs to JP.
Thank you, Seamus and Coach Newman. It's all even at 1 apiece at the end of the first half, but the Cleveland Force in game 3 have really come to along with Seamus Mallon, and at the end of the first half of play, we're all even at 1 goal apiece. Goal scorers V for San Diego and HAASKIVI for Cleveland. Right now, let's go down the field for a very special Metropolitan Life presentation. Here's Cleveland's public address announcer, Howie Chiswick.
Wichita Wings goalkeeper Ninad Zagante registered 18 wins in his first MISL season. This afternoon, he was named the winner of the 1988 MetLife Trophy, presented annually to the league's top newcomer. Let's turn our attention to the field, where Ivar Quigley, manager of sports programs from Metropolitan Life, will present Ziggy with his coveted award.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of MetLife, I'm pleased to present the MetLife Trophy, which signifies the most valuable player in his first year in the league. And this year, it goes to none other than Ninad Zagante. Ziggy, congratulations. I messed up your name, didn't I?
Thank you for MetLife. It's great to get this nice trophy. Thank you.
Ninad Zagante was our winner, and there's a look at how the voting went. Ketter, very close in second place. Jim Gabara had an excellent season with the Los Angeles Lasers, third in the voting. Young Boki Banovich of the St. Louis Steamers picked up 5 points or votes. And A.J. Lakawecki, the goalkeeper, second goalkeeper with David Bursich in Los Angeles, also had 5 votes. Congratulations to all of those people, especially Ninad Zagante, our MetLife Trophy winner for the most outstanding newcomer. Let's go downstairs to a good friend of soccer. Besides Seamus Mallon, we're talking about Ivar Quigley. Seamus?
Thank you, JP. And indeed, Ivar Quigley is a great friend of soccer. And MetLife, likewise, a very important feature. Maybe I think, Ivar, some fans would like to know exactly where soccer fits into the MetLife picture.
Well, our program began, Seamus, about 10 years ago. And it began right with the kids that you're seeing right behind you now. We saw the numbers of kids, boys and girls, playing this great game. And we knew that it was going to grow and grow in this country, and sure enough, that's the way it's turned out. There are more kids playing the game now than all of the other major sports together, and we feel that we're on the right track at MetLife in supporting soccer.
Well, one of the great things about the development of soccer in the United States, of course, has been the youth movement, and advertisers are no fools. They see what goes on around, and more you see soccer balls as kind of subliminal advertising and so forth. Is this something that you talk about too in your board meetings?
Oh, absolutely. It's a very important facet. We know that it is getting more recognition at the corporate level. As you mentioned, you do see ads. We have developed our own ads for soccer at MetLife. And that is an indication to me that our corporation is behind the sport, and we see it growing forward, and we're pleased to be a part of this growth.
Any just quick comments you might have on how you see the future of the game?
Well, I think we're all waiting for the July 4th announcement, which we hope will be very favorable toward our having the World Cup in 1994. And I think if that comes, you will see a gradual recognition for the game over the next 6 years, culminating in the sport, in the World Cup. And I'm very optimistic that the sport is going to have its rightful place among the major sports in this country within 6 years.
Okay, thank you very much, Arvar Quigley. Arvar Quigley from MetLife, a great friend of soccer, a great friend of the MISL. Now back upstairs to JP.
Thank you, Seamus. We're here at halftime. It is a 1-1 tie. Two great stars have scored the goals. Julie V for San Diego, HAASKIVI for Cleveland. We're coming right back to Richfield, Ohio. Stay with us. Game, but it's really not.
No, it's a whole week's worth of activity, and you have to give a lot of credit to the Cleveland Force and the front office at the MISL for creating this activity. But the one thing that it does is that it gives the players an opportunity to be looked at very closely by the coaches, and to be in this environment where they're going to train and play the way that they will as professional players, and that's invaluable because in the college ranks they don't have these opportunities the way they do for this week. And the coaches will tell you that you see a very, very steady progression from the players over a 7-day period. So it's worked out very well for us. It's a program we're very proud to be associated with.
Our thanks to Steve Sampson for joining us at halftime and also for this nice trophy. And as we take a look at the top 5 vote getters, you see how close it was. Branko Segota missed it by just one. Zoltan Toth-Preki and Jan Gustins were the others. We're tied at 1 at the end of the first half. Stay with us. Building when it's full. Perez right side to Quinn. Brian Quinn on the right side. Dougherty swings it across. Not a good ball. Perez will get it. Perez playing a bit hurt, but he still looks good out there, although he has not done anything in the scoring like he has in the previous 2. Quinn on the right. Perez hurting a bit more tonight, though. Off cross and an easy goal. Juan Hermes. As Karich fed it across, and he was wide open. 2-1 San Diego on a power play, and that breaks that record, Seamus. Yeah. For a long, long time.
Well, they certainly tempted the fates with all these penalties that they've given up, but Quinn, again, playing it wide, as he must do. But then that first quick touch across, and the far post, as I said so often, is where the player is going to be open. And this time there's no question about that. Karich, I think, is the cross. Yes, yeah. He beats, I think it wasn't Armstrong he beat over there. King, I guess.
So with 4:17 to go in the third quarter, the Sockers finally get the go-ahead goal. They're getting the quality rebounds when those rebounds have occurred.
Well, that was a pretty good opportunity, and SCHMETZER has a great chance to put them ahead, or put it tied up here, and he doesn't do it. Andy SCHMETZER, this is. You see that coming back right to him, and he just gets way under it. It's possible that Ruotolo distracted him a little bit, but that was the kind of chance that a pro player loves to see looming up in front of goal. And certainly he would have buried it past Gorsuch if he'd just been able to keep it down.
42 seconds left in the third. It's a 2-1 San Diego lead.
So Walt SCHMETZER a few minutes ago with a great volley that was saved, and Andy SCHMETZER knocking it into the crowd with a perhaps even better chance.
Armstrong up for HAASKIVI. Kai taking on Crow. To the outside, off the boards, blocked by Gorsuch. Off the boards again, and Jim Gorsuch is there. Jimmy Gorsuch. Left side intended for Crow. Doesn't make the connection to Florio. Right back. HAASKIVI. Nice job on the turn. Across on the wing. SCHMETZER up to Florio, and it went up the post. It never went in. Cleveland's got to wonder that they're not being jinxed here as John sends it back. Either one of two players for Cleveland could have and should have buried that ball, and they didn't.
The mystery is how that didn't go in, because that there's, you know, the leprechaun has left Boston Garden.
Yes,
this season,
yes, he has.
Seems to have made a return appearance behind Gorsuch. Look at this. good work here. The shot coming across, but it looks like it's surely going to go in. And DeFlorio, unbelievably, cannot just knock it in.
HAASKIVI to Armstrong. The shot goes upstairs, and now Cleveland's pressing with 2 seconds left.
Well, Gino DeFlorio's got to wonder what on earth is going wrong here, because he got a couple of goals in the playoff series, but he had an unfortunate game 1. And
game 2 he got victimized.
Game 2 he's victimized, not as demonstrably as in game 1 when the winning goal was went by him, but nonetheless he's had some chances to put some distance between Cleveland and San Diego, and has just simply not been able to do it.
Those 2 seconds tick off harmlessly, and the Cleveland Force have one more quarter, but they're very much alive in this one. It seems easy to say it, but all the Force have to do is finish off those chances. They've had a bunch. 2-1. Soccer's out to make the switch there.
They're
and
making
he
the
is.
switch, yeah.
Why not? This is too close a game, I think, to fool with this.
Well, we're going to take another look at the injury, and you should keep an eye on Craig Allen's left arm and see if this tells you anything. There's the reach in. And there's the left arm, which may be what smacked on his nose there. Again, it's very hard to tell, but no questioning the force of the impact.
No.
Exactly
or the penalty.
What part of the anatomy struck which part is hard to tell from the replay, but when we saw it live, we both winced up here because it really was a jolt. Well, now they go with Zoltan Toth, who of course has had a very easy game in game 2, and now comes in to try to protect this goal lead, and has a penalty, has a power play to work with for the. Got to be very careful. He obviously has got to go forward, but this San Diego counterattack is so lethal and is so fast that you really can be in deep weeds if you put too many players forward of that red line.
Yeah, P.J. Johns, I think, played a great game, and he's got to be a candidate as our MetLife player for Cleveland. Andy Schmetzer in goal. Timo Liakoski shows a lot of confidence in Andy Schmetzer when you think this is his second really full season, but he didn't play that much at all last year in comparison to this year, and you're using him in a tight spot like this, so full credit to Timo Liakoski for giving him that opportunity, and apparently he's done it during the year. But not that time. Oh, sometimes I speak too soon. Andy Schmetzer. San Diego going all after him. They want to force a mistake here. Tabrizi coming back for it. They wanted to catch it right there and get a shot and end it if they could. 3:16 to go. Carl Valentine with it. Valentine over the line. DeFlorio cutting it. Craig Allen gives it up on the right side to Stolmeyer. Look at that shift. 3 players go to him. Out to HAASKIVI. He looks at what he's got. Oh, just missing. Tabrizi just got a flick on it. Right side Stolmeyer. Andy Schmetzer against Fernandez. Here's Valentine, a chance shot too high. Great chance for Carl Valentine on his first test of the night. Toth will come up with this one. Rolled up for Brian Quinn. On the left wing, Tabrizi over the line. Has a sea of yellow jerseys against him. Andy Schmetzer. And now it's, again, Andy Schmetzer, right side to Stolmeyer. 2-1 lead. Here it's played across, too high. Intended for DeFlorio, tough pass. Right side, Mocalis. Over midfield. Gus doesn't give up on this one. Sends it in, blocked by Valentine, almost on to Pavil, but here's a forced chance. Coming back with Craig Allen. If he can make the pass, he does to DeFlorio. DeFlorio on his left foot, the shot deflected too high. Out of play. Should be a corner. Whoever got the block on that on the near side may have saved the goal.
Quinn. It was Quinn with the block, who's done a very good job all night, really, for this San Diego club.
Here's DeFlorio, and it was indeed Brian Quinn, who I've liked earlier. We'll see if we can agree on it as our MetLife player of the game. He only has 1 point, but no one really has a lot of points, and that's not necessarily how you measure the player. HAASKIVI off the boards. Allen score! It's tied! Craig Allen!
Well, JP, I got to hand it to you. You were right. We were talking about Craig Allen and how he was having a nightmare of a game and persisting and trying to come back into it. And you said he may have a bad game for, 58 minutes. But watch out in the last 2 minutes. Well, you were right on the mark with 1:55 to go. Craig Allen, as they say, at the death of the game, he comes to life. And that's what all the good strikers do. When the game is just about dead, they come to life. Not pretty, not elegant, but effective. And in it goes, the tying goal with only 1:55 to go. And you got to say it's deserved, JP.
Yeah, it's a storybook finish. It will be more storybook if he gets the game winner. We may or may not be headed for overtime, but at least there's a chance for it now with a 2-2 tie. Armstrong, blocked. Karich got a piece. Hermes in the box. Settled by Dougherty. Look out, he hit the post. Clavijo with it. Fernando Clavijo. Right side, Hermes. The left footer blocked by Kitson. It stays in play. Hermes wins it.
Dangerous play on Schmetzer.
And a foul called.
Timeout.
Timeout by San Diego. That's a good timeout. You're allowed one per half. If you don't use it here, you can use it in overtime. But San Diego knows that maybe this is their only time to score here, and they'd love to end it and win this game.
Well, that's right. And they also, JP, have the experience and the know-how to take advantage of the emotion that Cleveland has. By that I mean that when you're an emotional high, you're at your least guarded as a player. And there you see the shot coming in, and I think it's going to be Dougherty who just whistles at the post. Here's the shot, and he just a little bit wide of the post. But what I meant is that when you're on your emotional high, you're at your least guarded. That it means your discipline falls off. You start to run around a little bit. And if the other team, as San Diego is, can keep its composure and is cool, they can take the wind out of your sails just like that.
That's a great camera shot as well on that play, because I thought Dougherty's hit the post and he was unlucky. That was a little bit wide of the red goal mark to the right side of P.J. Johns, so not as close as I thought. Jim Gorsuch, we're not sure about his injury. He'll probably have the nose x-rayed, but he wanted to stay here for the finish, I'm sure.
And, of course, we should mention that this man, P.J. Johns, is back in the goal. The sixth attacker goal tactic worked. They got the tying goal.
And it's worked for the second time in 3 games, each time with less than 2 minutes to go. One at 1:59 and one at 1:55. Allen from HAASKIVI, 7th of the playoffs for Craig Allen.
Watch out for Clavijo here.
Julie V getting ready. Gives it out to Perez, the left footer, and that's wide. Perez will keep it alive. Hugo Perez picking up the scoring load in the wake of the injury to Bronco Segota, who was declared out for this series before it started with a shoulder injury, left shoulder injury. McAllis. Bronco actually had it separated pretty bad. Played back to Zoltan Toth. Lifted too high, a bad giveaway, uncharacteristic Rizzoli. Schmetzer to HAASKIVI. Kai holding it, nice cut. Takes the shot, loose ball, and it went off Armstrong right to Toth. Again, the force not lucky on that. McAllis clears it out. Kitson heads it in the neutral zone. We're 49 seconds away from overtime, but look who steals it. Julie V walking in on goal. Great save from P.J. Johns. Perez keeps it alive. The heat's still on in the Force Kitchen, and now it's cleared out of play. San Diego with a restart, 37 seconds left in regulation.
Boy, amazing action in the last 2 minutes. Unbelievable. Each team looking as though it was just about to get the winner. And superb goalkeeping at each end, particularly by P.J. Johns, who looked absolutely dead to rights with Julie V coming in on it.
Well, no one has ever come back from 3 games down, win a championship series. But remember, Dallas was down last year, 2 games to none. They won it. Last year was a 2-2, 1-1-1 series. Here it's 2-3-2. In for V. Knocked away, and it's HAASKIVI. Kai coming back off the boards for Kitson. Kitson, right footer, too high. Couldn't get that ball under control. 29 seconds left, but how about the ball HAASKIVI delivers into space?
Unbelievable ball from Kai HAASKIVI, and Kitson unhappy with himself for rushing it. Look at HAASKIVI, hardly even looks up, and he plays it off the wall between the defender and the player. And look at this hasty shot by Kitson. It was still bouncing a little bit on him, and I think he felt he was about to be closed down. Kitson just doesn't have the speed he used to have, obviously, and he knows that he might get caught from behind.
Well, that was vintage HAASKIVI, though, wasn't it? That's not a lucky play on the boards, like you might say if someone else nails it, but he can do that. 3 lines.
Good pressure by HAASKIVI. He saw that Toth had to play with his feet, so he went and put the pressure on him.
Tough spot for Zolik. coming in after being cold with Gorsuch getting hurt. Ball played by HAASKIVI, blocked. He'll try it again. Almost got it through, but there's Brian Quinn again. Lifting it from Perez. He may have a break with 7 seconds. Watch the clock. 5. Perez, Mepham caught him. P.J. Johns bobbled it, but will hold on with 1 second left, and that's it. Great effort by Dennis Mepham, but that might have been, Seamus, a photo finish, because if Mepham doesn't get there, Perez is going to walk in. He'd probably have about 3 seconds or so to score it. Maybe there the hip flexor bothers him. Maybe he can't go full stride, but I'll tell you what, at that point, he's not thinking about the injury.
Well, if there's any player on the San Diego team you least want to see coming down on you if you're in the goalkeeper's shoes, it surely is that man Perez. And with 3 seconds to go, he was at the far end, ready to knock in the game winner and just about break everybody's heart in this building. But once again, a desperation, successful defensive play by Cleveland, who seem to have come up with scores of such plays while their attack has been really sputtering all night. The defense has been immense.
As we take a look at what happened in the closing 10 seconds of play, watch and enjoy. We've got a 2-2 tie, and we're headed for sudden death overtime for the second time in 3 games. Can the Force do it? Stay tuned, we're going to find out. He had a chance.
He didn't realize that Strohmeyer was on his right.
Yeah. Ball cleared back the other way. P.J. Johns with it at his own red line. He has kept his team close enough so that they could tie it on the 6th attacker. Were it not for P.J. Johns, especially in the 4th quarter, it would be 3-0 in games San Diego. HAASKIVI leaves it for Armstrong. Desmond Armstrong looking for HAASKIVI. Not a good ball. Taken away, Brian Quinn. Now it's 3-on-3. Clavillo running beyond everybody. Clavillo passed it across. Garrett score. It's over. San Diego wins in overtime, and Fernando Clavillo is the hero for the 2nd time in as many overtime games in this series. You had the feeling, Seamus, that when Clavillo walked in, that maybe the same thing would happen that happened the other night when he used his speed to get the shot away. But right there, that's a great pass on the run like that.
Well, it's the same thing we talked about all night long. It's that ability of San Diego to break from the back in numbers and speed after they have sucked in the opponents trying desperately to win their match. And that's what Cleveland was victimized by once again. Clavillo did exactly what he should do, which is to come forward with all engines going as he does. Good touch from Ladouceur to get it going initially. And then this man, Brian Quinn, makes some good ground too. So they all come out very well. Now the touch to Clavillo, he just lays it on the first touch he can and right into the stride of Karich, who just knocks it home to add a goal to his assist. He had the assist on the 2nd goal. And a real heartbreaker for Cleveland, who had done everything but hit the winner, and they're now down 3 games to none in this best-of-7 series.
Final score in sudden death overtime. The Sockers win it 3-2 at 1:28. Zoran Karich finishes off a pretty pass, a perfect one from Clavillo for what he did there in the end, although that certainly helped him because it was a pretty close vote between you and I. But he did play well. But I think the player of the game or man of the match was the guy who loses the game in goal. I think the best individual performance tonight came from P.J. Johns. 19 saves is a heck of a workout.
It was a great workout, and many of those saves were absolutely crucial. Saves that if he hadn't made, they really would have been in deep trouble indeed. They got a chance to get back into it, but he couldn't do it all for them in the end.
Well, everyone, myself included, predicted a long series, 6 or 7 games. Right now it's 3 games to none. San Diego threatening for a sweep.